Okay, now let's go to the pros and cons of this movie. Because by God, I have so much pros and so much cons for this movie. Start off the pros. Okay, Hugh Jackman. Can we talk about this man? Because this man literally took on this role and said to James Mangold, "By God, Jimmy," which James Mangold is known for, by the way. He's like, "By God, Jimmy, I'm going to make sure that I'm going to nail this role, and every single woman, either gay or not gay, will fall madly in love with me and my charms." And of course, guess what? It actually worked. But yeah, this man, he was so charming, so charismatic. He was absolutely hilarious in this film, and it's a crying shame he's not in many romantic comedies because this is actually his last romantic comedy. Because now he just decides to go back doing action films and stuck being Wolverine for the next 20 odd years, if not more. Also, the cinematography. The cinematography in this movie was actually good. It's done by Robert Stromberg, who, of course, you may know, was the director of Maleficent, the one with Angelina Jolie was in it. That's the same guy, and he done cinematography for this movie. And it was actually very, very well done, especially the colour palettes for 1876, which is like a orange yellow colour to it, which I thought was very, very good. Also, the script was good as well, I'm not going to lie. The script is actually written by James Mangold and Steve Rogers. Yeah, not Captain America. Oh god, not Captain America. But Steve Rogers was the writer. Um, but yeah. Anyway, another thing as well I liked was, and this may be a bit of a shocker, but I thought the chemistry between Meg Ryan and Hugh Jackman was actually good, despite the fact they were sort of slow enough to fall in love with one another, because they didn't fall in love with one another until like an hour into the movie, or if watching the director's cut, it's like an hour and 20 minutes. So it's a little bit slow, but I thought their chemistry was actually good. I'm not gonna lie. And also, this movie has a Disney vibe to it. I'm not gonna lie. And then I discovered that Miramax actually bought Disney in 1994 until 2013. So theoretically, this film is actually a Disney film, which I had no idea. But anyway, there you go. Now let's go to the cons, because by God, there are so many cons in this movie. I don't want to bash it because I actually love this movie, but here is some cons I came across. And this is an obvious one. The time travel. Okay, the time travel aspect in this movie makes zero fucking sense, because all we know is that we have this Brooklyn Bridge that's unfinished, and every time there's a portal which opens up, according to Stewart, every 20 years, like a total eclipse, the person has to go through Brooklyn Bridge, jump off the ledge, off the bridge, to go into the portal, which we never see, by the way. And all you hear is this ding, and that's it. And I'm like, what the actual fuck? I mean, where's the portal? Is it a wormhole? Is it a black hole? Where is the portal? And it would have been great if James Mangold added like a portal where we actually see Stuart and Leopold and Kate going into the portal, going straight into 1876. But no, it just makes them look like the character, you know, it just makes the characters look like they committed suicide or something. And now, especially the end with Meg Ryan's character going back to 1876 to be with Leopold, and there was a guard there, and now Stuart and Charlie are fucked because they think that their sister committed suicide, or Stuart's ex-girlfriend committed suicide, but in actual fact she didn't. And now the girls find it hard to find her body, even though her body is now in 1876. So yeah, it was just weird, the time travel aspect, but still, it was it was still okay. Speaking of Meg Ryan, can we talk about her hair? Because by God, her hairstyle in this movie was so bad. I mean, I know what they were looking for, like I know what they were trying to gain, but by God, I mean, even her wardrobe, her costume wardrobe was so bad. Like she was they're stuck wearing blouses and trousers and like a jacket, and her hair is just so ratty and wispy looking. Here's me going, what the actual hell happened to her curly hair? If they didn't give her like the layers in her hair would have been a lot nicer, because her hair is a lot nicer when it's curly, not straight, depending. But they should have ditched the layers, because the layers did nothing for it at all. So yeah. Not that I'm bashing Meg Ryan, but I think Meg Ryan was sort of outshadowed by Hugh Jackman, because Hugh Jackman, like I said, my pro was stole the entire film from me because of how charming he was, like I said, and he was a real Disney prince. So yeah. Now, depending on what version you watch, like I said, the whole incest thing is a bit disturbing, because if you watch the theatrical cut, there's no mention at all that Stuart is connected to Leopold. But in the director's cut, which a lot of the critics actually saw, they actually hated that version. And the reason why was because when Meg Ryan's character Kate married Leopold, she is now Stuart's great grandmother. So theoretically, she actually made love to her ex-boyfriend before she met her now husband Leopold. And here's me going, are you actually serious? It was just bizarre, but you know what? I didn't really get that. It just went over my head, to be honest with you. But it was a bit weird, the fact that she fell in love with her ex-boyfriend's great-great-granddad, who was a total hottie, by the way. So yeah, anyway, that's it. Enough for me about my pros and cons. I don't think I have anything else. It's also predictable as well, but yeah. Okay, final verdict. Okay, it's a sweet rom-com with some cheesy dialogue, which it has a lot of cheesy dialogue. It's predictable, but overall it was very good, and it's a crying shame that Hugh Jackman didn't star in many rom-coms, because let's face it, Hugh Jackman is a leading man that should have been recognised more for his romantic comedy career, because he'd done Paperback Hero back in 1999, back in his hometown in Australia, Sydney, Australia, where he played a romantic novelist who uses his friend, played by Claudia Kerwin from Aquamarine, to pose as him so that people won't suspect that he was the actual writer. It was a good rom-com. It's on YouTube. Check it out. They did Someone Like You, Ashley Judd, where he played Eddie, who was like a womanizer. And then, of course, his final rom-com was, of course, Kate and Leopold, where he played the Duke of Albany, Leopold. Out of the three movies, I think Kate and Leopold is probably my favourite, if not my favourite Hugh Jackman film ever, because, like I said there, this man was nailed every single scene in this film. Like I said there, I know I'm waffling, but he literally took on the role and said, you know what, I'm going to make every woman fall in love with me. And that's exactly what he did. He literally, he nailed it, you know. And speaking of, he uses a English accent, because in real life he's actually half British, half Australian, even though he's born and reared in Australia, in Sydney, Australia. But both his parents were English. And I just thought it was really fascinating to actually hear him speak British instead of American, because he uses the American accent a lot compared to the British accent. I thought he did a good job, with the English accent. I had no problems with him, and I actually understood the dialogue, and he done the British accent to a T. But there's a lot of people that are saying, oh, do you know what, he would have made a good character in Brighton, and now I kind of agree with them, because this movie is like a period drama, if you know what I mean. But yeah, you know what? It's still a good movie. It has its flaws. Every romantic comedy has its flaws, but still a good movie to watch. I give it B plus, 7 out of 10. I did give it 6 out of 10 before, but the more times I watched it, the more I actually love it even more each time. But yeah, if you're a fan of this movie, like I said, like myself, if you're a fan of this movie, do watch the director's cut, because the director's cut makes a lot more sense compared to the theatrical cut, because the theatrical cut makes zero fucking sense, because it doesn't give you it doesn't elaborate on the characters compared to the director's cut, because the director's cut actually elaborates more on Kate McKay and Stuart being connected to Leopold and all that stuff. So yeah, give it a watch. It's on Netflix on the UK and Ireland, or you can get in DVD at a good price in CX or online. So yeah, that's my podcast on Kate and Leopold. If you've actually watched it, thanks for listening, and yeah, it's one of my favourite films. I love it. So yeah, that's my podcast on Kate and Leopold.